Once upon a time, this dwelling overlooked the Hennops River. It's now submerged up to its windows in sewage sludge. The Sunderland Reach wastewater treatment works has been operating far beyond its capacity for many years. And even after an upgrade, it was still unable to cope. The Tshwane Metro's solution to the problem was apparently to allow partly treated sludge to overflow onto lower land inside its premises. That area has since become this unlined lake of sewage effluent, the size of several rugby fields. This is only contained by an embankment close to the site's concrete perimeter fence. Last year, both the embankment and the fence gave way, and a wall of sludge entered the adjacent land, as these pictures show. The sludge flooded a large area outside the perimeter fence and ran straight to the lowest point, the Hennops River, just about 100 meters away. It seems as if someone forgot to repair the hole in the dam wall, because during the first summer rains in early September this year, there was yet another spillage. At the same spot, the Tshwane Metro reacted by erecting this makeshift dam outside their perimeter fence. But it wasn't successful. The stinking mass of sludge once again landed in the river. The spongy grey stain which now covers the landscape is clearly visible from the air. It's an ecological disaster, says Paul Ferrell, a wetland and riparian expert.
It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. You can clearly see that the toilet paper, etc., has been moved. So a basic process through grids has taken place. It's absolutely raw sludge, but it has gone through some screening process.
And it's going to happen again, because the rainy season is only starting now.
This is criminal. It's criminal. There should be a capacity inside the waterworks that can handle any overflow of sludge if belt presses or something goes down. This can kill people.
The Hennops River flows into the Hartbeespoort Dam, about 30 kilometers from Pretoria. The Department of Water Affairs has for years been fighting a losing battle to clean the dam's highly contaminated water. But while hundreds of millions of rands are being spent here to address the symptoms of the disaster, local government, in this case the Tshwane Metro, continues to allow toxic waste to enter the river upstream. It negates the action, says Paul.
This is symptomatic of our whole country. This is what we've become. We are drowning in our own effluent, and the tragedy of this one, especially in this specific catchment, which the Hennops feeds into the Crocodile River, and that is joined by the Mariko and then fed into the Limpopo, which services 4 African countries of the SADC group. And there are tens of thousands of women and children downstream that have this water as their sole source to wash, to drink and to cook with. That is the tragedy.
And if that's not enough, Tshwane has also allowed massive, high-density residential development to take place almost next to the Sunderland Reach treatment works.
As such, this wastewater treatment plant is over capacity as it is. And I don't know how these developments can be approved if there's no capacity to handle the effluent.
Ratepayers who live across the works in Erasmia, an old established neighbourhood, are up in arms about the overpowering stench.
At this stage, it's out of control. When you come down the road on top at the school and you turn down, you actually smell it. Through the car, when the windows are rolled up, you smell it. At home, it's a problem. You can't even keep your windows open. And what about the health risk?
You can't avoid smelling it. It's an absolute stench when the wind carries it up, and it's very, very overpowering. In fact, last week, it's about 5 days ago, we had our students walking about here holding their noses early in the morning. It wasn't a very bright start to their school day.
It's terrible. The smell is terrible because even the kids can't eat, can't do anything. They are getting ill time and two.
This family runs a shop 3 kilometers further downstream.
My friend is, why is the smell is coming? We have checked everywhere which side is some dogs or some rats or die or something.
You know, when there's something dead and it does not smell nice, it's very bad. That's how the smell it is.
We didn't know what was going on. We were just thinking about where this smell coming from. And we did recognize it that it is sewage alone. Otherwise, we only knowing that the sewage is only in Southern Ridge.
But it's not only the unbearable stink. Wolf and Magda Gripnitz can no longer use the river to water the exotic plants they grow in their nursery. This is how it once looked here. And this is what it has become. A dry wasteland next to the second most polluted river in South Africa.
The wastewater treatment plant has become a severe ecological problem in this area. We understand that this system or this plant cannot handle the volumes of the wastewater. I can only assume that they half-treat the waste and then dump it into these dams. And these dams, of course, fill up and overflow into the river. However, it also permeates through into the groundwater.
The Gripnitz emptied the dam after the swans and fish had died from the polluted water. They also stopped growing vegetables for the market. Water from a borehole is now used to fill this little pond and to irrigate the much smaller nursery.
We can no longer drink our borehole water without having to first treat the water.
But just how dangerously contaminated is the water in the Hennops River? ANN7 took water samples below the Sunderland Ridge works and had them tested by the National Health Laboratory Services. The results showed that the sampled water was highly contaminated with bacteria and not suitable for drinking, even after the sludge had been diluted by the river. The total coliform count was more than 2,000 units per 100 milliliter. The recommended national limit is 10 units per 100 milliliter. No trace of E. coli whatsoever is allowed in drinking water. In river water, the national limit is 1,000 units per 100 milliliter, and the Hennops test results showed E. coli levels higher than 2,000 units per 100 milliliter. The high presence of E. coli indicates recent fecal contamination and poses the greatest danger to public health.
It is very, very bad leadership and management. And I'm not talking about the officials that's doing the actual work at the wastewater treatment works. I'm talking about top management here. They are short-sighted. People in council are acutely aware of this problem, but I don't know, the problem that we have is, should they start building a new wastewater treatment plant today, it will only be ready in 3 to 5 years' time.
According to the latest Green Drop certification program for wastewater, the city of Tshwane represents the highest risk municipality in Gauteng. 8 of its 70 wastewater treatment plants are in high-risk condition. The Green Drop program is an initiative to ensure that treatment works progressively improve their operations, so as not to impact negatively on the water bodies into which they discharge their product. Susan Puren, ANN7.